Hello and welcome to Creative Cousins. If you're new here, we're two cousins and we make art. This week we're going to talk about gadgets that we use to make our art and different tools that we found along the way. And we'll go in detail about how to use them, examples of when we use them, and stories. And then after that, we'll have our nostalgic memories. We're not doing recent creations this week, but we're just going to talk about our experiences with these tools.
Okay, so who wants to get started? Who wants to show their first tool?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
So this one is not one that I use super a lot anymore, but it adds a really nice effect, especially if you're going for a really soft, like filmy kind of look or a
Hmm.
dreamy look, or even like a fantasy. Like if you're into like fantasy photography, then you have to know about this. So it's the pantyhose trick. I feel like I've talked about these a lot, even on like my own personal like social media and everything. But you take your pantyhose, you cut off the end, and you're gonna put it over your camera lens. So like my hand is a camera lens, right? And you can actually control how much of the effect you get by how like tightly it is, like how tight it is over the lens. So like if it's pretty
Mm,
loose, it's going to be kind of thick. But if
right.
you pull it like this, it's going to be thinner. So it'll be less effect. So you kind of have control over it like that, but it's kind of difficult like to like pull it and like still work your camera, but
Right,
if you
yeah.
can work your camera with like one hand and then have your other hand like holding your lens, that's usually how I do it. Um,
Mm.
but it's really nice for when you want to switch things up, make things look dreamier or softer. I remember I used this for like a branding shoot for someone who had like a very like magical kind of like branding.
Mm.
Um and I also have used it like for like fantasy portraits that I've done, like just fun projects I've done on my own. I have used it sometimes for like engagement shoots or weddings where I feel like there are situations where if you have a really high contrast environment where it's like midday or there's just a lot of light and it's like really harsh light, this is
Yeah.
a good trick because it diffuses the light through the lens. So
Mm.
instead of like really intense highlights, it's gonna soften the highlights and it's also gonna spread some of the light to like the darker parts of the image. So it overall
Oh,
kind of like it's almost like a mattifying effect, like if you were like make
right.
it more matte.
I gotcha.
So that's kind of how it helps in like high contrast situations.
That's cool. I think if we have some of your photos, we can probably pop them in here of what it looks like when
Yeah,
you
I'll put
use
them in a
it.
folder.
Yeah. Because I think I remember seeing some of those, and I do like the kind of like fantasy look that it gets when you do that with the pantyhose. So,
Yeah, and I mean it looks good, like it looks better once you've edited it. Like I will say like it doesn't look that impressive like as a
oh,
raw image. But the trick that I found to editing it is decreasing the blacks, increasing the whites, increasing the contrast, and then
mm,
like playing around with like vignetting and like the tone curve.
yeah.
Um, that can kind of help like if you feel like the effect was like too much or too little, you can kind of adjust it in post.
Oh,
But
okay. Those are
yeah, I'll put some photos in, and this is like a really cheap tool to use. Like you just get like the $10 pantyhose from CVS. I've only had to replace them one time, because I got like kind of ripped up. Yeah,
or if I guess people have their own pantyhose that they don't wear anymore because people don't
yeah,
usually wear them anymore. I don't know the last time I wore pantyhose was, but well,
yeah. It could potentially be free.
maybe for a wedding. I think one time.
I have only used the nude ones
Yeah.
or like the top, the taupe ones, but like I don't know. I guess white would probably also work. But I've never tried the black ones, so I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
But you also don't have to. It doesn't have to be pantyhose. Like I've seen photographers shoot through like cellophane,
Mm,
which is like a very similar effect, but a
mm.
little bit different. So you can get like cellophane sheets on Amazon for like really cheap. and you can get them in different colors, which is nice.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and then you also can like use things in your environment. So like I've been in studios before that have like sheer curtains and like I've just taken
Mm.
like the curtain and just like put it over my lens or whatever. There was even one time that I used like a sheer corset because I had nothing else. I just like took the corset and like found like a patch that was like just like the black fabric and used that and like it was kind of an intense. I guess I technically have done it with the black because I used a black like sheer corset once, and it was like much more intense effect, but like it was cool.
I guess that could be a whole experimental photo shoot you could do with just like different colors
Different
of
colors.
pantyhose and see how it looks different.
Pantyhose or cellophane, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to try the cellophane. But this is also like just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to like shooting through things. I have seen people get the same effect using like so many different tricks. Like there is the Vaseline trick, which
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
you only want to do it if you have like a lens
Cleaner.
cover.
Oh, cover.
Not even that. I wouldn't even personally, I wouldn't even put it like directly on my lens. Like I pay way too much money for my lens to like risk ruining it. But
Yeah.
you can get like lens covers like UV clear covers that you screw onto the lens and it's like a
Oh,
completely flat surface instead of like rubbing Vaseline onto like the rounded surface of your lens. You can rub
yeah.
it onto like the flat surface of the UV diffuser. You can get that same effect without with if you ruin it, you're only ruining like a $10 or a $20 filter versus like your $1,400 lens. That's an option. I've also seen people use plastic bags. I've seen people use those little jewelry bags, like the little sheer like jewelry bags. I've also seen people use like things you wouldn't expect, like things you could get at Home Depot. I saw a photo once, like someone used copper, like a copper pipe, like a piece of round copper pipe, and it gave it
Okay.
like this weird like glinting effect in the photo, like this like sort of warm glinting. I'll have to see if I can find that photo or an example of it, but it's
Interesting.
really interesting. Like you can like try this with anything and see what happens.
Wow. Yeah, they just go to Home Depot and go to town, I guess. You just go through the aisles and what can I cover with my camera? What can I,
Yeah, like
what can I put on top of my camera right now?
it's fun.
That is fun though. It's fun having those kinds of experiments. So that's cool. I have been doing, some experimenting with my art a little bit. You know, I will address the markers in the room.
The markers.
I'm going to address the markers in the room. These are some of my markers. They're making loud noises. These are my new ones that I got for Christmas. And they're very pretty. They're double sided. I did a quick little, I think last episode or some other episode recently, I like showed just like the tip. This is one side. This is the other side. Focus. Okay. And then I have them in so many different colors. I like that these are come in a good variety. That's not all. I haven't used these ones yet. I'm like have to cut out all the sounds of the crackling sounds and the little opening of the box and stuff. These are like skin tone ones because
Oh, nice. Yeah.
eventually I want to be
You're gonna
able
draw
to draw people at some point. That'd
Did
be
you get
nice.
those for Christmas too?
Yeah, Sean gave me these ones for
Nice.
Christmas. I haven't used them yet, really, because I had to figure out. I first had to draw something human-ish. I mean, I guess you could use them for other things in skin tone because they're just shades of brown. But yeah.
Hmm.
Um. Oh wait, my other markers are in the other room, and I feel really silly right now. But I have these other ones. It's probably familiar to Allie.
Yes.
Allie gave me these ones. So these ones are these water-based ones. I should probably say the brands, huh? This is called Primrosia. Primrosia? Primrosia? Something like that. It's very Nice packaging. The other markers are Copic markers. Copic?
I like Copic.
Copic?
I don't know which is correct, but I like
don't know.
Copic better.
Sounds a little better. I have other markers that are other alcohol-based ones that are not as expensive as the Copic ones. These ones are a lot more expensive. The Copic markers are more expensive for sure. These things can be, I don't know. I can't really remember how much this pack is. I think it's like a 36 pack. And yeah, 36. It says for Japan sales only. Oops. Did not get them in Japan. And anyway, so these ones are probably like almost $100 for just 36. They ain't cheap,
Yeah,
but they're really
clearly
good.
not.
They're really good. This one, I could imagine this is probably like at least $40 for 6 markers. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a ridiculous amount, but they are really good. They are popular and they are really good, and they're, the hype is real. Like people really love this brand, and I feel like I'm buying into it. I really like it. They are
I believe it.
alcohol based too. The Copic markers are alcohol based, and they're yeah.
What does that mean? Like, how is that better?
So it really just kind of depends. So these ones are watercolor based. It basically just means, like, if it's alcohol based, the markers, they're a little less blendable, I've noticed. You have to kind of
Like, oh, they dry faster. That makes
They
sense.
might. It's kind of like, but they're bolder. So they're really bold, bright, concentrated colors. I've noticed with water-based ones, they can blend. Well, some of them can blend with water like a little bit. This one supposedly blends with water. I haven't really tried that. I think I have, but it didn't really go well. I think I might have just been doing it wrong, so I don't really know. But water-based markers, they blend together pretty smoothly. And they are kind of cool when it comes to, like, you don't want like something super bright or you want something more muted. They're not
Yeah.
as pigmented, I feel like, as alcohol-based markers.
Do you have like a piece of paper in front of you right now? Like, could you do like a swatch?
I'm not sure how easily you'll be able to really tell. All I have is lined paper. Oops. So let's say I take this teal color here, this watercolor, I keep saying watercolor, this water-based marker, okay? Has like one tip. Has one tip that's like a brush tip, just like the other ones. And then the other side is a little different. It has like a kind of a pen. It's actually like a pen. I see it. Okay. And if it gets on your finger, you can wash it off a lot easier.
True, yeah.
So, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you can kind of see
If
the
you like rubbed your
lines.
finger over it right now, would it like still like be wet? No?
Yeah, it's still wet and it gets on my finger, but that's
Oh,
probably
okay,
because
got it. Yeah.
it's still wet. It doesn't cover, you can still kind of see the line of the thing going through it, even though it's a dark
Yep.
color. Okay, and then
Which is this one, the Copic?
yeah. Now, this one, you could still see the green
Yeah.
line. So you can also kind of layer more on top of it and layer more, and it makes it darker as well, like that. Yeah, so
Oh, yeah. So you can do like a little bit more blending.
these markers are pretty good at blending. If it's still wet, you can still kind of blend it pretty well with other markers. But for water-based ones, I think it's probably a little bit easier to blend because they have the water in them. But I just feel like it's not as saturated. I don't know. But that could be a good thing depending what you're doing. So when I was doing my human face marker project with like the leaves and the hair all over the place, I'll probably put the picture here. For the face, I used a lot of the water-based ones because I was afraid of using like really, because I was so new at doing faces and I didn't have any skin color markers yet at that time. and like the alcohol based ones. So I was afraid of like messing up. And basically, I feel like with the water based ones, it's a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Anyway.
Well, I'm glad that they have been of use to you.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about markers when I bought them. I just thought the packaging was pretty. Um,
That's fair. I think that's how a lot of people buy stuff. So that's fair.
they have a good marketing team. Okay, moving on. If you're looking at getting into photography and you're gonna learn about flash, obviously. I don't use a whole lot of off-camera flash. I mostly use on-camera flash. And so there are a few things that I like to use my on-camera flash. One of the things is diffusers.
Okay.
So this basically goes right on the top of your flash. I don't know if you've ever seen like a flash photo like taken like with a camera that's set to like automatic mode and like a built-in flash, but it's pretty strong. Like the flash
Yeah.
is pretty strong. And one of the things that's nice about a diffuser is that it really helps diffuse
The
the light
light.
from the flash. So it's not going to be as harsh and it's not going to look as weird. Sometimes with direct flash, it can look kind of weird, like uh, on certain like skin tones and stuff. Um, so there's a lot of different kinds of diffusers you can use for flash. So that's one example. I almost never use this one. I have like a plastic round cover one that like snaps onto like the top of my Godox, but I have used these in the past. I've used this one in the past, which is a little different. Like it has like it's more concentrated because this is usually like pointing at your subject. So it's more like a little softbox.
Oh, okay.
Um, so it's kind of concentrating the light but still diffusing it rather than like bouncing it everywhere all around to the sides. Like this one. This is what that is meant for. Like this one is meant to like diffuse the light all around the room.
Right.
Um, it's a little bit different than this one, which is going to be like point right at the person and like it's not going to go really anywhere else. This Magmod has like little magnets on it that just like you just like pop it. There's a matching piece that you like fit around your flash and then you just pop it on top. So you can just like rip it off easily. Mine came with like a beauty dish, which I think is supposed to like dampen the flash even a little bit more. I don't like using this anymore. I feel like it dampens it too much. And when I'm working in like really dark spaces, like I really need the light. So I don't really use that much anymore. There's other versions of like this kind of like thing. This is like a really popular brand, Magmod. They make other versions that are like bigger, um, and can like throw light like even farther. Yeah, I just noticed that when I use this versus using my Godox with like a little round plastic cover, like my Godox just really does a lot better at like throwing the light. I've never tried using this with my Godox flash. Godox is like a brand of flash. It's kind of expensive, but like they work really well. I have one flash that's a Godox and one flash that is not. I have a Sony flash. My Sony flash was also very expensive, but I feel it does not work anywhere near as well as my Godox. But that was the first flash that I like really invested in. But I use this a lot with my Sony, and I just feel like it's sometimes just not enough light. I'm curious to try this on my Godox because I wonder if I would like this better on my Godox, but it's already fit to my other flash, so I'm probably not going to change it. Like the matching piece is like fitted to my other flash.
Do
But yeah,
you
those are some options.
so what do you like to use Flash for? So like can you describe like times that you'd rather use Flash than not use it?
I Yeah, anytime it's like there's like almost no available light, um like very little ambient light, like you're in a mostly dimly lit room and like there's like a few lights on, but it's nighttime or it's evening time and there's not a lot of light, or it's even like the daytime, but you're just in a room that is dark. The walls are color dark and there's not a lot of windows. There's not a lot of natural light. I like to use fill flash, which is basically when you expose all of your camera settings as if you didn't have a flash. So you're gonna bump up your ISO to what you would need to make the photo bright enough, like
Mm.
exposed enough without a flash, even though it's gonna look orangey from the ambient light. Like you just expose that first. You pick your aperture, you pick your shutter speed, expose it like how you think, look at your histogram, make sure it's like correctly exposed. Then you add the flash on top of it and you choose your flash power. So you might not need a lot or you might need a lot. But you take a couple of test shots and like after a while you kind of know like what kind of flash power you need in like certain situations and like sometimes you need to just like crank it up because it's like really dark. Another way to control flash that I really like to do, especially at like weddings and events where it's like in a really dark barn and like there is no light and like the only
Mm.
light is like from like the dance lights, like the only light is from like the DJ booth or like maybe a couple of like ambient lights.
Yeah.
But like the dance floor is like normally really dark. Like in certain venues, if the walls are white and the ceiling is white, you can point your flash like straight up at the ceiling and like the flash will bounce off all the white walls and like it will be nicely lit in the photo.
Oh.
But in in barns and like any kind of building that's really dark and has dark walls, it's nighttime and like people are dancing, like you're gonna need to like either point the flash slightly towards the front of the camera, or you're gonna have to point it all the way at your subjects. So you have to like
Wow.
tip it all the way down because it's not going to go anywhere when you bounce it. It's not gonna go anywhere because everything is so dark. So what I
Or
do, sorry.
oh no, because I was just gonna say because you recently had a wedding, right? That was in the barn, and so you have
Yes,
recent
it's
experience about
extremely
this.
it's extremely technical and difficult and like you have to be really comfortable using flash, if not strobes, like flash, because a lot of wedding photographers would prefer to use strobes, which is basically like off-camera flash and like they're really, they're more powerful. You have to like set them up though. Like you probably need an assistant because like it's heavy equipment and like it's just really involved. And you need like a trigger system so that
Oh
when you
wow.
press your shutter, that you can like trigger the other, like you can trigger the strobes where they are because you're going to be standing in a different place. You can do that, or you can use other flashes on top of tripods
Right.
and you have your flash like set to like the slave mode where it can trigger the other flashes. So when the other flashes sense that this flash is firing, they will also go off.
Hmm.
Um, there's some things to that like you have to be aware of. Like if this flash is not in the line of sight of those flashes, they may not trigger because they're not seeing it. So
Oh.
it's like difficult. It's really, really difficult to do nighttime weddings in a barn, and I just did one. And
They look so good though. I was gonna
thank
say,
you.
like, I
But
can't
like
believe
it's
that it was
kind
a
of crazy
barn.
because like I sent that gallery to somebody who I was interviewing for, and they needed a second photographer, and I told him like I just did this like really difficult wedding in a barn at night in the wintertime. And he was like, yeah, like, I'm actually happy to hear you say that because I know how those go. And he went through my gallery and he was like, yeah, like, what did you use? Like, did you use strobes? And I was like, I was flattered that he asked me that because I was like, actually, no, I didn't use strobes. Like, but like the fact that it looks like I did means like I clearly did a good job. Because all I did was, like I said, tip this directly towards the front. And most photographers are very afraid to do that. A lot of photographers using on camera flash are very afraid to do that because they think it looks too harsh and they panic when they see what it looks like in camera. It does not look good in camera. So you have to remember that when you're looking at your pictures after you've taken them. Like, it looks harsh. It looks bad. It doesn't look good in camera. When you get it on your computer, it looks different. It looks better. But most
Oh.
photographers will see that, like, panic, turn down their flash, and then it won't be exposed enough. So, like,
Oh.
I think that's what happens anyway. I don't know for sure that's what happens, but I think that's kind of what happens because it's what I used to be like when I first started shooting on camera flash. I used to look at it in camera and be like, oh God, that looks so harsh and horrible. Then I would turn it down and then I would get home and look at all my pictures and say, oh, these are way too dark. I should have kept it like the way it was. Um,
Wow.
So that's like good. That was good feedback I got. But what I do in those situations, because there are two things you could do. Like I said, you can adjust your flash power to be stronger. So like if they're further away, you want it to be stronger, and if they're closer, you want it to be weaker
Yeah.
because you don't want them to be blown out or you don't want it to be too dark. The problem with that is that it's not super fast to change the power on your flash.
Right.
Like you have to like stop looking at what you're shooting and then look up and like use the dial to turn the power, right?
Wow.
So there's another way to do it that I don't think people realize, and I think probably old school photographers know this because they and the guy I interviewed for, he's like in his 40s or 50s, so I think he knows this probably. A lot of people don't know that instead of changing your flash power or instead of using TTL, because a lot of people just use TTL, which is basically auto mode for flash.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot of wedding photographers in this generation use that because, and I should use it because it's easier and the camera does most of it for you. But
Right.
I'm really, really nitpicky and controlling about my images, so I don't
That's
like to
fair.
use TTL. And because it's the way I learned, I'm like stubborn and don't want to change. So I like
You
using my flash in manual mode. And so instead of changing the power, because that takes my focus away from the moment, I have a lens that way to adjust the aperture. There's two ways to adjust. Like you can adjust it on the camera body or you can adjust it like on the actual lens by twisting it. So not every lens has that. Only one of my lenses has that. It's the Sony 35 millimeter 1.4 G Master. And I think G Master refers to the fact that you can actually turn the dial on the lens. So you're holding your camera like this and you have one hand on the lens and one hand here. Your flash is here. You don't have to touch it. And I just change my aperture. So I just
Oh,
I just like as the person is walking closer towards me, I'm twisting the aperture to be low or to be higher to
I
let
see.
less light in. So it does make a little bit more of a dramatic look because what happens is you're letting less light in from the background as well. So the background is going to be a little bit darker, and then the subject is going to be they'll be properly exposed. It will be interesting because you can still recover a lot of the shadows in post. So you can still get the images to look very consistent, even if you're doing it that way, as opposed to using TTL or changing your flash power. Yeah, it's another way to do it. And I find that it's like, it works really well for me because I don't have to take my focus off the moment to like
Right.
fiddle with the flash power. I probably could just use TTL and it would be fine. Um, but I actually kind of like the dramatic look that I get from stopping down on the aperture and there being like such a contrast from
Yeah.
the background to the subject. Because when you use TTL, everything's just going to be bright and properly
What does that
exposed and like
stand for?
through the lens metering. It stands for through the lens metering. So the camera automatically measures the light coming through the lens before firing the flash. So it's not always accurate. Like it's very accurate for the most part, but it's not always accurate. As opposed to
Hmm.
like manual, like if you really know what you're doing, you're always gonna nail it because you're just gonna know like what it needs to be at.
Interesting.
And it's just something that comes with like practice too. Like I can look at like my subject and say, like, oh, that person is about like, 5 or 6 feet from me. Like I know what aperture like I need to shoot with this power flash that I have it set right now. Um,
I'm so bad at
which is
measuring distances.
but that's actually how they used to do it. Like remember
Props
how I
to
was talking
you.
about remember how that episode I was talking about film cameras and the flash was because
Mm-hmm.
on the old flashes, they didn't always have the option to adjust the power. So that's what they would do. They would adjust the aperture based on how many feet their subject was
Yeah.
from the flash power. So now that I've been doing that way for digital cameras, I think it's going to be easier for me to do that with flash on film.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
because it's the same technique. It's just using different equipment. So that's why I prefer to do it that way because I don't have to switch back and forth two different methods. Like I'm not
Right.
going to forget what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm going to be doing the same thing on digital and film. Versus if I was to use TTL, I could be shooting on my film camera, forget that like I don't have TTL, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do it like mess it up. So at least if I do it one way all the time, like I will not mess up. So that's my reasoning behind that. Um, but yeah, like it's literally just you just point it directly and you just take a test shot, and it's nice. We're spoiled now because I can check my histogram in camera and I can see if the highlights are blown out. So if you ever look in camera and you look and you think that's too strong, it looks bad, just check your histogram because chances are it's not that blown out. If your
Wow.
histogram is all the way to the right and the highlights are all clipped, then yes, your flash is too strong. But chances are you are not going to overexpose it to the point where it cannot be recovered, at least if you're shooting in RAW. Anyway, that was like a very long rant. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just impressed that you have to deal with all that while doing a wedding, like configuring settings and all that stuff, like mid wedding. Like, because things might change and you might need to adjust it. And I feel like that's like so much pressure. And of course, you don't
It
want to
is, which
miss
is
any moments. So I get
that's
it.
why I always say I'm like so glad that like I didn't go directly into wedding photography. I really am because like you can really mess up and that can like ruin your business and like you mess up a key moment, like that person is not going to recommend you. It's sad, but it's true. And like it is stressful, but at the same time, it's not stressful if you know what you're doing and you can do it
Yeah.
like fast. You know what I mean? Like you have to be to a level where you could do it fast too. So you don't just like need to know what you're doing, but you have to be able to kind of know it like to the point where you can,
Be quick about it.
yeah, be fast about it. So like it's just crazy when I see people that are like brand new to photography doing wedding photography. I always am like so nervous for them because I think people get discouraged. Like, like they maybe don't realize and then like they have some things go wrong and like they would maybe get discouraged and leave versus like if they had like more of a slow introduction to it, they
Yeah.
might have an easier time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's definitely not the kind of thing you can just pick up and do. It's unfortunate, but like I am seeing a lot again, it's that time of year, like you're seeing a lot of posts of people getting their wedding photos back now that like the busy season is over and
Oh.
like people being disappointed because like they went with a cheaper option and it turned out like the person didn't know what they were doing.
At least you're not in that person's shoes. I just hope that people are doing their research and practicing enough so that they don't have any of those mistakes that may happen. I don't know how I'd be so stressed out. Like even if I was good at it, like I'd be so stressed because
Yeah, I
of
do
the
get stressed,
pressure.
but I also like I know that I still have a lot to learn too. Like there's people that are probably gonna look at my work and say like I don't know, I've definitely had feedback of like things needing improvement. Like I know that like it's a lifelong learning thing, but I do think now I'm at the point where like I wouldn't like really fuck it up.
And that's an
I
Allie
definitely look at
promise.
like people that are I definitely still look at people that are like been doing it like 10 plus years or whatever and I'm like damn, like I could learn so much from them. Like I'm not saying I'm the expert. My next thing I want to tackle is I do kind of want to learn off-camera flash in strobes.
You have to have a person for that, I guess, an extra
Like an
person.
assistant, yeah.
Yeah, an assistant.
At
Just
least like a lighting assistant, someone to like hold it or carry it for you, because like it would just be too much.
Oh, I,
Um,
I have a question about your flash.
yes.
When you're doing your flash, do you ever get people who are like just like on the dance floor dancing and then are like your flash or like it's like a stupid question. But I
Sometimes
people are
it's
like,
actually not as much as you would think, but
oh,
yes,
okay. People be like,
it is.
get that.
People do get annoyed sometimes, but it's usually not that strong unless I'm doing like shutter drag, which is where like your flash is on full power.
Oh.
But yes, it's happened, is my answer. And you gotta just kind of be like, read the room and kind of like find a balance to where you're not like in everyone's face all the time. And when people start to get annoyed, then, back off a little bit. Like, but you
Yeah.
still want to deliver like fun images to your couple. You want your couple to see like how fun the dance floor was. And like, you don't have to shoot it all with flash. Like, that's why I made that post today. I did a good number of photos at my last wedding with ambient light. And it
Yeah.
was possible. It was a dark, dark barn. The only reason it was possible is because the live band had lots of fun lights, like lighting up the dance floor.
Oh, cool.
So you can get creative with your lighting, and like I actually recommend doing that if uh, you have the capabilities to do some ambient light shots on the dance floor. I recommend it because you're not only going to save the guests from so much flash, but you're going to be able to be a little bit more unnoticed that way.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. I would imagine.
and a little bit sneakier. And like it's, as wedding photographers, I think we stress and stress and stress a lot about lighting, but you can have bad lighting and still properly expose a photo. Like with the capabilities that cameras have today, there is no reason that
Mm.
you can't bump the ISO up to 6,000. Like it's gonna be grainy, but it doesn't matter. Like you caught the moment. Like of course it's gonna be grainy. It's a dark barn. And now with Lightroom denoise, you can even get rid of that grain. Like AI can get rid of that grain for you. But yeah, you're gonna want to get a mixture of shots for your couple. So that was cool. I was glad I was able to do that.
Yeah,
If I
because
did not have that live band there, I would have done far less ambient light photography. But
literally today, I saw your photos of the dance floor photos of your most recent wedding, and I was like, these are the best dance photos I've seen Allie do. Like some of them are so good, and I feel like dance floor ones are harder because people are like moving around. It's just like
yeah, you gotta like
I
get
saw some
between
really cool
people. And
ones.
which ones did you like the best? I want to know. I couldn't decide.
I don't remember which one, and there was a couple. The ones in black and white look really cool on the dance floor, actually.
Yeah, I mean that's why like I feel like people stress too much about lighting, which is why I haven't learned strobes yet because for me like wedding photography isn't about having the perfect lighting or like the perfect shot. Like it's about capturing the moment. Like if you capture the moment without ruining the photo itself, like then you've done your job. I also think it's kind of a turn off to like some couples who want like a documentary photographer to have things that feel like really overproduced. So there are going to be
Yeah.
some couples who don't want you bringing in like light stands and strobes into their like portrait session because like they're going to feel like they're even more like, being like it's a production, you know what I mean? Like some couples
Exactly.
just don't want to feel that way. They just want you to like kind of be chill and like, not make them feel like they're like movie stars in some production or something. Like they just want to enjoy their day and not like make it all about the photos. So that's kind of like the culture of documentary photography is just like not overproducing things, just getting the moment, getting the emotions.
That's fair because it's true when you see like all of the cameras, not all the cameras, all of like the extra
These like flashing lights
stuff,
and
it's
extra
like a lot of
props
extra
and
pressure on you.
extra
You're like,
people.
oh God,
Yeah.
oh God, now there's all this extra
You're like
stuff.
oh my God, does my hair look okay? Like, are you gonna be able to see that pimple on my face because you have that bright flash? Like,
So true.
it's just like interesting. I just feel like it's just not really my approach because I just prefer connection and being present over if I have to like stop what I'm doing to like set up light stands and change settings in the strobe and like it's just gonna take away from the time that I'm able to be with a couple and like it's gonna use so much
Mm,
time that we'll have less time for poses, we'll have less time for prompts, we'll have less time to have actual fun because I'll be too busy like
that's
fiddling with
true.
stuff. And like it's just a big production when like there really isn't a lot of time on wedding days to begin with. Like it's amazing to me that some photographers do that because I'm like, how do you have the time? And I realize they plan ahead for it, but still, like they dedicate like an hour and a half of the day to like bride and groom portraits. And I'm like, most of my couples do not want to spend that much time taking pictures. Like if they're
That's
doing
a
an
really
8 to
good
10 hour
point.
coverage. Like they want to go back to cocktail hour and actually enjoy it with their guests. Like even if it's just for 10 minutes that they get to be at cocktail hour, like it's better than missing it all entirely.
Yeah, you'd have to have like
So,
really specific couples that like specifically ask for like, I want a photo shoot, like
yeah.
full
Well, some of them
on.
do.
Yeah,
That's
some
just not
do.
the type
Yeah.
of it's just not the client that I attract because it's not the kind of work that I do and I'm kind of glad for it, really, because I think it just like just more laid back and like I just like wouldn't want to have to do all that extra effort, like no line, like no cap.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot of extra work.
Well, because your photos of the
And
bride and the groom already looked good without all of that extra productions.
right, like I think you can still
Yeah.
make good photos without like doing the most. And like there are couples that are gonna want you to do the most. Like they're out there. Those are the people that are paying for like they're having like luxury weddings and
Yeah.
they're like paying for like, you know, I don't know. Like even some people who do luxury weddings though, I feel like sometimes those photographers still don't use like a lot of extra equipment, but it just depends. Yeah, it just depends the kind of couple that you're doing because like some couples really do want that. I've worked with a wedding photographer as a second photographer who really wanted that's just her style. Like she it's a little bit more produced. It's not super produced, but you know, like she does have to bring her husband with her because he has to like set everything up and take it down and like I was helping like hold the lights at one point. I was holding like the strobe.
Mm,
So I got like some experience doing it, which was good, but like from doing that, I know that it's just like not my thing.
yeah.
And I think the photos do look great, but it's just not the style that like I go for, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own particular style, which is why it's nice
Yeah, it
that,
depends how you want the picture to look. You know what I mean? Like if you
yeah.
really want it to look a certain way, then you have to hire a person who like knows how to make it look that way, I guess.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. That's good that there's other people that have different styles because, not everybody's going to want not everyone's going to want Allie's documentary style.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And some people just really don't like, the direct flash thing is really only become trendy, I feel like, in the past couple of years. Like the
Oh, really?
paparazzi editorial look. Um,
Oh.
it used to be, I don't know if I'm correct in saying this. Maybe if anybody's listening and has been in the wedding industry longer than me, I'd love to know your thoughts. Was using direct flash for everything, did that used to be like frowned upon? Like, was it always like that people use strobes and off-camera flash before and now it's just trending away from that? Like, I just want to know. I like to know these things
That's fair.
because like not every couple is gonna like that look of direct flash. And I think if you know how to edit and you know how to do it, it can look really good. But I've also
Mm.
seen people do direct flash that don't know really how to edit it and it can look not so good. So I feel like that was a long tangent. That was like not even the purpose of today's episode. Um,
Well, now
but
everybody knows more
it's
about
an interesting
Flash.
discussion. Woo!
Congrats,
I'm sure everyone's
guys.
thrilled to
Woo!
have that. Did you want to share anything? Do you use like rulers or like tools or
I have
anything
a
you want to
lot of
share?
things to share. I must share my tool here, my camera.
Ooh.
This is nothing like Allie's fancy camera technology, okay?
It actually is though. It's mirrorless, right?
I don't know, I don't think so. This is like,
Oh,
this
I
is,
don't remember what you told me like when you were buying it, if it was
honestly,
mirrorless
I
or
cannot
not.
remember. This is just an EOS Rebel T7 Canon camera.
Oh, it's a DSLR, never mind.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
The biggest difference from a DSLRs to mirrorless is honestly just that the mirrorless is better in low light and it has better autofocus. That's really it.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. So, this,
And the colors are a little different too. Colors are a little different, but
I got you. But yeah, this is just my good old bad boy right here. I only have, this basic
it's a
lens
perfect
here,
beginner camera though.
and I don't really need it for anything fancy. I have a
But it
strap.
gets the job done when you need to go take pictures of flowers.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
I have this thingy that goes like this.
Oh, I have one of those too. I have one too. I also don't know what it's called, but it gets rid of
I
dust.
got a little thingy that goes like this. Anyway, so this is what I use to capture a lot of my reference photos. And I'm really trying to go more manual, trying to go a little bit more unique with my settings. And I
Yeah,
like to play with the
you've been
manual
branching out.
focus too, actually. Yeah. So I'd like to use it just for a lot of my references because it's fun and it's a lot more detailed, obviously. Although I do have a good phone camera. My phone camera is actually good. But I do like taking it on the camera. Obviously, the camera is better and there's a lot more settings and stuff. And I do like playing with the focus a lot. Will turn occasionally, I will turn it to manual focus because if it's as long as it's like something like a flower where it's not moving, I'll just like go like this.
Yeah, and like see like how you can get. I know I've seen those. Those pictures are cool though. Like
I like,
seeing like how it looks where the focus is on different points.
yeah, it's just fun playing with the focus. I get a
And
lot
it's
of,
also really good that you do that though because you now understand how focus works.
yeah,
Like I think it's really good to like understand how things work so that when you do move on and move forward like you can I don't know, you're just going to see how much it helps you like later on
yeah,
to know. I never realized until, recently how like, focusing is really just like the camera deciding at which distance it's going to be like focusing on.
mm,
Because I'm
that's
sure when you turn the manual focus dial, you notice that either like the stuff way further back is more in focus or the stuff closer
right,
is in focus. I
right.
never really realized that
I
until
never think
recently
about
when I
it in
was like
that
playing with
way.
it.
Like, I know that's how it works,
Right,
but I never think
right.
about
And
it like
so
that.
that's all you're doing when you do manual focus, and you can still get it in focus, obviously. So when you think about autofocus, it's like the camera's just deciding what distance are we gonna work at here. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
And then
it's
it's
weird to think
crazy
about.
when you add like aperture into it, because like so much more is in focus when you're at a higher aperture.
Yeah,
But when you're a lower aperture, you get that like blurry effect and like the focus point is smaller. But it's just crazy. Like it's just so good that like, you're starting there.
and I don't got a fancy flash like Allie does. Mine's just a little built-in flash, little dude.
First camera had one of those too.
There he, there he go, there he go.
Love that sound though. Like that sound is so satisfying. Um,
Yeah, just wanted a good comparison between Allie's all fancy flash and then mine. Shout out.
so cute. I mean, hey, those still work. I still use that in wedding photography. Like I have no preference to like what gear I use. I think that's like really a hot take. But like I I really think you can take amazing wedding photos with like cheap gear. Like I really
Yeah,
do. If you know what you're doing. Like I have a camera that is a film camera that has a built-in flash just like that one.
yeah,
And I use it for wedding photography. Like I feel like people are just so many wedding photographers nowadays are just like so snooty about gear. And it's just like it doesn't matter like at all. Like it doesn't because like by the time you like process it, like how many megapixels you have doesn't matter. By the time the client gets the image, like it looks the same. Like by the time you like deliver it in the online gallery, like you're not gonna be able to tell that like your camera had more megapixels. Like I don't know, it's just crazy. Like it's just too much like focus is put on that. I think it's great if it makes your life easier to have
yeah,
good gear.
yeah,
Like it doesn't like make any difference to the couple at all, really. They
exactly.
don't care what kind of camera you're
Yeah,
using.
yeah. I think a good photo is a good photo. And, I think I've taken good photos with my not that fancy camera. And I've also taken photos that were good with my phone too. And I think it's kind of all about, there's so many other things, there's so many factors. Obviously, get higher quality maybe as you go more experience, and then also things get a little bit easier to do probably when you get more expensive as well. But doesn't mean that it's
Yeah,
not
it is
impossible to
easier.
make.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm saying that to encourage people who are like, "Oh, I'll never be able to do weddings because I don't have like, expensive gear." You can. You can and you should.
I believe in you, Sam.
It's not about the gear, it's about the photographer. It's about the person behind the lens.
So true. How deep.
It's just funny, like I've seen like so many reels on Instagram where like photographers are like offended because like they'll put like in quotation marks like, "Wow, your camera takes such good photos," and then like the reel will be like them just like putting the camera on a flat surface and being like waiting for it to do something, like pointing at it, being like,
All right.
"Yeah, see, the camera did it all by itself."
I think those things help, but there's no replacing the person taking the photos. Did you have another one to show?
This is a variable ND filter,
What does that
and
mean?
it is just something you screw in the top of your lens, right? And it's just a dark filter. So it's going to make everything darker. And you can
Oh.
actually adjust how dark it is by just turning it like this.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I still don't know how that works. Like I've thought about it and like I would love to know how this works, but like I don't. It does
Please
in camera.
comment down
Like
below and help Allie
yeah, if
figure
you
it
know,
out.
like let me know because like I screw this on and I'm turning it right and I see it get lighter. Like even as I'm looking through it right now, like it's lighter, lighter.
You can
Go
see
this
me in
way, it's
there.
darker, 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 darker. I can almost see nothing right now. It's just crazy. But the reason I would use this, and I hardly ever use this anymore, is if I was shooting on a bright beach and your camera only goes to f16 and it's still too bright. It's not still too bright. It's going to be okay, but you want to shoot at a lower aperture for whatever reason on that bright beach. So maybe you want to shoot the photo at like f4 because you kind of want the background to be a little bit blurry, right? But you can't do that because when you go to f4, the whole photo is going to be blown out. Like it's going to be way too bright on that beach to be shooting at f4. So what you can do is you can put this variable ND filter on, make it darker, and then shoot at f4.
Wow, that's cool.
And it is cool. Yeah. So that's one situation I would use it is if you want that blurry background and it's a bright beach. The other situation is if you for some reason want to do a motion blur photo and it's a bright environment
Oh, right.
because you have to lower your shutter speed, which lets in more light, makes it overexposed, makes it blown out. But if you put this on, you can do it.
Wow, that's really
Um,
cool, actually.
it is really cool. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility when there's too much light. And yeah, if you wanted to do like a detail shot for some reason and it was like really bright out and like you wanted like it to be like just that one little spot in focus and everything else is like not in
Yeah.
focus, you could do that. So that's actually I thought I was going to spend a lot more time talking about that, but I I was actually pretty fast
Okay,
and it's
good.
because there's just really a limited number of situations you would actually use it in.
Yeah. Well, overexposed light, that's really hard it's hard to like just take away light because you can always add light with flash. But
Yeah,
taking it
and I mean, you
away,
can
if it's really
also,
sunny, I feel like that'd be harder.
with most newer cameras, you can't, usually the shutter speeds can go really fast, so sometimes you can still shoot at like f7 on a sunny, bright sunny day and crank up your shutter speed. You could probably even do f4 and just crank your shutter speed way up. Yeah, so you don't necessarily even need a variable ND filter anymore, I would say. I feel like they're like becoming less and less used because like cameras are like so they have such fast shutter speeds now.
Yeah, maybe it just depends on the cameras too that you
Yeah.
have.
But if you wanted to use a slow shutter speed, then you would still want to use a variable ND filter.
Right. That makes sense. Wow, that's cool. I never knew that even existed. Cool. I'm gonna go on to my next stuff. I'm just gonna bump. Okay, there's a lot of little things here, and then my little pouch. So this is my little pouch that I use for drawing. It is very packed.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's packed, and I probably should replace them. It's kind of some of it's pretty old, but anyways, I'm gonna go through them real quickly. So here we go. Here is you might have heard of these things. It's called a pencil, and not only is
What is that?
so technically it's a charcoal pencil. So I use a lot of charcoal pencils. Now there are different levels of charcoal pencils. There are hard, medium, and can I find soft? Soft. Okay, just by
I
guess,
didn't realize that there was different like
which one do you think I use the most?
hardness. The soft?
Soft. It's a
I
very
didn't
short.
realize that there was like different hardness levels charcoal
Oh
pencils.
yeah, there are. Yeah, soft basically means that it's a lot easier to smoother and also a little bit easier to get darker with it. Medium is like you can't really get as dark, I feel like, with a charcoal. Basically, the softer it is, the more that you can like press down on it. So, okay, I'm gonna use my little notepad here again. So here's hard. Ready? Hard, 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 hard.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't really,
Yeah.
it's not really very smooth. It's just kind of, hard, whatever.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I see what you mean.
This is
So
medium.
you probably also go through the soft faster because it like leaves
That's
you
true.
use more of it.
This is medium.
Oh yeah, I can see that. It's like really dark. Oh, so you like that dark, dark one because you like more of a bold sort of,
Yeah, and
right?
it's just easier to blend these ones. So then you
Ah, that
get
makes
your
sense.
blending tool. Ta-da! I think they're technically called tortillons or something. Tortillons, also known as like
That just brought back a memory for me of being in art class and using that. I forgot about those. Like from like high school or whatever. Like I forgot about those. I definitely remember that
That's
now.
so funny. Um, so when I try to blend the hard, it's not as easy to blend, right? You can still see a
Yeah.
lot of it. Blend the medium, a little
Oh
bit
wow, yeah, that's a
easier,
lot better.
and the
Oh
soft.
wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow,
So
that's
I
a lot
never
better.
use hard. I'll be totally honest with you. Do not use it. Maybe I'll use it like if I really, I can't even think of a time that I would use it. I mean, I have it. It's sharper. You can get it sharp. You get really kind of maybe a nice thin line. Maybe if you want to get really sharp and thin. But for the most part, I mostly just use a medium for like small, thin details. But when I really want to make something really dark and like a big area, I use soft because it's a lot faster to blend. For the longest time, these things would come in these like packs, like these like artist packs. They're like, oh, just, you just see them in like these like sets. I should say sets. Like, oh, a charcoal pencil set. And I've always was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? And so I've only started actually using it now. Can you have a guess what this is for?
No idea. Does it like hold like straight charcoal? Oh. Yeah, I get it now.
It's so I can it's so I can do
Hold
this.
it. So you can use it down to the nub.
So I can use it when it's super tiny.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And
Actually
I'm
really
like,
clever, and it's
it's
a way to like not waste supplies.
and I'm sure there are other uses for it. Maybe you could use it for your charcoal sticks.
I never knew that
Maybe you
existed.
could use it for charcoal sticks. I don't really know. Um,
Yeah,
but
if you like jam it in there.
maybe if you use it on like, maybe I could like put my charcoal stick in here. It's kind of weird, but I'm dual wielding with two different things here. Two different things. Anyway, so this thing is great. I didn't realize how great this was. Anyway, so I started using it. And then I have different size of my blender. I use this one the most. I just like a chunky blender. And there's like smaller ones. There's like a bunch of different sizes of it. So
Wow.
you can use a tip of it or you can use the side.
Yeah.
Then you have your blocks, your charcoal compressed charcoal sticks. Charcoal sticks, this is medium. It's reversed, so that's why it doesn't say it. But one side is like kind of dull. The sides of it actually aren't really that. You don't like feel the charcoal on the outside. It's mostly the tip. You kind of
Yeah.
can wear it down mostly. I haven't used it on its side really, so it's still pretty flat on the side. Medium,
I
and
can
then
see now like how this is so messy.
yeah, and then you have the soft ones. The soft ones are its The soft ones are always so tiny. This is like a medium charcoal stick, something like that. Then you got the soft.
Ooh.
It's
This
like
is like
very dark.
okay. Every time you use the soft one, I just really want to blend it. So, oh yeah, that one's even softer than the other soft one. I feel
Yeah,
like.
so the sticks are more soft for sure. sticks are way more soft than the pencils usually. Also, 'cause just more of it too, because it's bigger. But yeah, I have some pencils that are literally like this tiny. So, you know, they're really tiny. Also, I use this. Fun fact, a brush. You don't need a fancy brush. I have like makeup brushes that I don't use in here.
What is that? Is that a charcoal brush?
No, it's just any brush.
Oh, just any brush to blend it. I see, I see.
You
That makes
get
sense.
a lot softer. So when you, instead of using this, which is a little bit, it still blends it fine, but I like to use a brush every now and then when I really want to blend like super soft to make
Yeah,
it
that
even
makes
more
sense.
soft,
To like
basically.
really, it's like it kind of like feathers it
Yeah,
basically.
it
Like,
feathers it more, exactly. I needed eraser.
oh wait, I remember those too.
So,
It's like putty.
so kneaded erasers are really good when you're drawing because, but instead of, so you kind of, first you kind of stretch it out to get kind of like the cleaner side of it. So when it starts to get dirty, you like supposed to like stretch it out and like put it together again to get more of a, like a little bit cleaner again.
Yep.
And
I
instead
remember learning
of,
that in art class. That's so crazy. I forgot about all these things.
it's funny. So instead of when you're erasing, it's softer. It's not as you don't get like when you erase with like a regular eraser, maybe like this dude. This is called like a gum eraser. Can't remember, but like it's a little bit harsher line, and it leaves behind
Yeah.
the little crumbs of the eraser.
Yeah.
Instead, with a kneaded eraser, you can kind of use it more like you're lifting some of the shadows. So what you do is you don't
Oh,
rub,
yeah.
you kind of just like pat down,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and you can kind of like roll it a little bit, but pat it more than anything, just to kind of lift it up. And then when it gets on the eraser, so it's not sturdy on here, then you just
Yep.
kind of fold it again and go about your business. I don't know.
How do you know when it's like time to get a new one? Is it just like it's just not getting cleaner?
It's just, yeah, basically, it's just gross. I like using, I love getting new ones because it's always like, yay.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then another weird charcoal related thing is a makeup sponge.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So a good way to blend, you just go, you want another, very similar to like a brush. You just, you want to smooth things out. I don't know, you can use your makeup sponge in different ways to smudge it. There's just various tools to smudge, basically. I got a whole jar of them. Anyway, not the expensive makeup brushes, makeup sponges. These are ones you get for like $5 or whatever the fuck. Not anything like too expensive because they're gonna get dirty. Also, sorry, I'm almost done with my charcoal stuff. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. This is all interesting.
Now we have white charcoal, also
I was
tiny.
ask you because I thought I saw you pick up like a white stick earlier.
Yeah, that's white
I didn't
charcoal.
realize that you used like white charcoal.
Oh, I use white charcoal. Oh, your girl uses white charcoal. Anyway, so what you do, so a lot of them are like, this is one that's like not tall. This is that eraser pencil. Don't get confused with that eraser pencil and the white charcoal. You can get easily
Oh
confused.
yeah.
This is the white pencil. It only really works if you have toned paper. So I can't really show it to you really that well because this paper is white. But I can probably go over the
Yeah.
spots that are
Oh yeah, yeah.
so you can see it. I exclusively, when I use charcoal, I exclusively use toned paper. So toned
Yeah,
gray paper.
I was gonna ask you what tone paper was.
Oh, it's basically just means that it's like a shade of gray.
Yeah, it's like off white,
Yeah, any kind. There's
light gray or
actually
something.
multiple different shades, and I was gonna think. I was thinking about should I just like bring some paper on here, but I'm like it's literally paper. Paper, like, it's what you think it is. At various sizes, and yeah, some are big, some are small, but it's always toned. I feel like you just get more of like a more three-dimensional look because you're able to not just you're able to more easily shade.
Yeah.
If you start with a middle ground, you can make things lighter or you can make things darker really easily. It's
Also, I would
hard.
just like to point out that the sunset in my window looks really
Yeah, it
Sorry,
is
that's my.
pretty.
But
No, it's
anyway.
okay. I appreciate the sunset. But you're able to make things darker or you're able to make things lighter a lot easier. If you had just plain white paper, you can tone it yourself by using another tool called Vine Charcoal. Okay.
Oh, I think I remember this one too. Yeah, no, it makes sense because if you start with a middle ground, right,
Yeah.
you can still go negative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whereas if you start from zero, you can't go below that.
It's really hard to be at white because anything after that, you have to be really careful about adding your shadows. You have to be
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I can't accidentally make this too dark because then I want this part to
And
look
you
like.
can't.
It's just for
Yeah.
me, I don't have the patience. So, Vine charcoal, it breaks really easily. It's okay. It's very, very, very light. And you
I love that
basically,
that happened.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're supposed to, when it's that big, you're supposed to break it. I should have done that.
Yeah, yeah.
But when it's this light, they just get like a tissue or a chamois cloth, and then you just
Oh,
tone
yeah.
it. I would use more than that normally. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it makes complete sense. It reminds me of the tone curve in Lightroom.
oh yeah. But yeah, so that's what I use for toning. But yeah, I don't use that often. Is this my tiniest little pencil? I don't know. Or this guy. These are both eraser pencils. Everyone's best friend. Eraser pencils are everything. Eraser pencils are the best. And here's why. You could just pop it on here because it's super short. And if you are trying to do something, especially if it's really tiny, and you're like, I can't fit my eraser inside this tiny spot. Oh no, this is too big. You just go like this, and you just get a super skinny line.
Wow, that's so useful.
Anyway, it's a little pencil. You can get as sharp as you'd like, and you can get some really fine, you can sort of see
Erasing.
it, some really,
Yeah.
much easier to erase.
I understand so much more about charcoal now.
So much easier to erase now. And, oh yeah, and white charcoal sticks. I don't use that as much. Because usually when you use white, it's like for highlights and you don't really need huge things. For white, I usually just use pencil because it's usually like the finer the tip, the better. Because like highlight, I use mostly for like tiny spots, like the white in your
Right. It makes
eye or
sense.
something like that. Anyway, I got a regular pencil. This is a 2B pencil. I use graphite pencils only really to sketch, and that's about it. Okay.
So it's
I
just like when you're in like the planning phase, you use it.
Yeah, in the planning phase. Or if I started doing sketches of of just graphite because it's less messy. But you just can't get that dark. Like in comparison to charcoal, you know, there's only so dark you can get it. And I prefer, if I'm gonna have graphite, I'm going for some dark graphite, like 6B or more. Basically, the more, so 6B is like, there's a scale. There's like 2H is like very, very light. And then there's HB, then B, then 2B, 3B, 4B, 6B.
Is that why we always had to have a number two pencil for Scantron exams?
I actually don't really know what number two pencil is as far as maybe just HB. I bet number two is just like B or HB or something like that. I don't really know actually what number two pencil actually would be in like drawing terms. It's a good question actually. I don't know. But I just prefer the darker one. This is 5B. I have ones that are 11B, 12B, which is
Damn.
less common. The darkest
Yeah.
that people go is 6B, usually.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Wow.
think B is just black.
I did not realize like how much of like a wide array of tools that you had for charcoal drawings.
Yeah, I use anything.
See, for me as a left-handed, are you left-handed?
No.
For me as a left-handed person, doing charcoal drawings in art class was a nightmare.
Well, they probably taught everybody like with the same way. So it
I
might
would
be.
leave class and like my whole entire like left hand, like this side of my hand would be just like covered in like
Oh, mine was like
charcoal.
that normally. My hand's always, my whole right hand is always dark whenever I'm done. Is that a left person
Wow.
thing? I think that's just in general. Because your hand's
Well,
always on your.
I guess it makes sense that for charcoal drawings, it wouldn't just be a left-handed thing, but for anything else, like because we all write left to right, so whenever I'm writing something, I also get it because
Oh,
like if I'm using pen or pencil to write something, I also get it even if I'm not drawing because we write this way. And
right.
right-handed people are not getting it because their hands off the paper.
That's true. I was actually thinking about this the other day because thinking about cursive the other day because I know recently, I write in cursive nowadays because of Challenger and I've worked, because I used to work somewhere where they taught kids cursive. And then I was thinking, I'm like, do people like who are left-handed have a harder time writing in cursive? And
Yeah.
then I said,
Well, it
did
depends
I teach
depends like
my
what kind of
students who are left-handed, did they do okay? I hope I taught them
it's
okay.
it's not necessarily that writing the actual cursive is harder. It just depends on what kind of pen or pencil you're using because like I feel like there are more strokes with cursive, so it can be messier.
Oh,
But it's still messy no matter what. Like whatever you're writing as a left-handed person is always messy.
that's a really good point. I'm sorry I took so much time about the not the cursive,
No,
about
you're fine.
the
I took a lot of time talking about Flash, so I think we're even now.
Oh, I have colored charcoal too, but I don't use it as much because I haven't actually explored this as much. But this technically is like a brown. Anyway,
Wow.
I have to get more into that, but maybe we'll do another part two of this, and we'll talk about even more of our supplies and our tools. But yeah,
I'm down for that.
do you have a nostalgic memory to share? I thought of one, but it's kind of completely random.
I love random.
Not about the trip. I just had a weird memory of the notebooks of I not just that, but our like famous home video that we made, the abduction. It's just really
Yeah.
funny that like you edited that. Like didn't you edit that? Like I'm pretty sure like you
Yes, I did. I used it. I edited it in iMovie. Yeah, it
yeah.
was me.
And the sound effects, I rewatched it probably like a year ago or whatever, but the sound effects in it, I've noticed that like in random like YouTube videos, like people will use them. And like
Yeah, it's because it's because iMovie has free sounds.
yeah.
So they're using the free ones.
There's
Isn't
like
that so funny?
there's like so many
Yeah,
times where I'm like hearing that like one
for
song.
our viewers, we like made and produced our own home movie when we were little. It
Yeah.
was directed by my father.
Yeah, we
And we
had
all
like
had like different roles to play.
notebooks full of like what we were planning on doing. And we were like 10 for the abduction. Like we were both 10. And
Yeah.
yeah, you edited it.
Yeah, I remember that. That
Little
was so
10-year-old
fun.
Allie. Um,
I even put credits in and everything. I don't know how I don't know if I could do that now. Like I haven't used iMovie in so long. Like I don't even know if would know how.
I would do the same thing because I used to make videos on Windows Movie Maker, like for Sims and
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like 10, 11,
Funny.
12. Like the things I would know how to do
Yeah,
is
so I actually
impressive.
when YouTubers use those sounds, sometimes it brings back a memory for me because I remember using those same sounds.
I just think of the dun 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 dun. Dun. There's like that one music sound of like them running around, and like I just like hear that random like music playing sometimes, and like I can't think of how it goes right now. Like it's just
If you can find
Rochelle
it,
like
we'll
running
select
around
it.
scenes.
Yeah. I think I
Anyway,
know what sound it is too. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We know this was a long one. So
yeah.
we'll
Well,
be back.
hope it was informative.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.